Hello, it's Carmel. I'm here. I'm talking for just a few minutes about my wake up call event that's coming up this Saturday, March 19th, and inviting you to take a look at it and if it calls to you to join me. So let me just tell you a little bit more about the wake up call event. We're going to be going from 10 a.m. Mountain Time to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So it's about 3 hours. And in that time, we're going to be focusing in on imposter syndrome, particularly for professionals. So if this is you, if you're a professional and you have been dealing with that feeling of being a fraud or that situation where you're discrediting your own contribution, or you feel that you're discrediting your own personal value in different situations that are professional, whether it's in your business or in your career with colleagues, with presentations, with your ability to put your ideas forward with others, your ability to interact at all different levels of your organization comfortably and confidently, then this is exactly what we're going to be focusing on coming up this weekend, the professional imposter syndrome. I'm going to talk about that for just a minute. So this is what we do, right? We discredit our contributions, or we discredit our own personal value as a person, or we do both. And those are the key things that the imposter syndrome attacks us on when we are professionals. What does that look like? Well, first of all, we don't trust the genius that's already there inside of us. How many times have you been in a situation where you know something, you've done your due diligence, your research, or it is your area of expertise and you know what you're talking about, but for some reason you don't push it all the way forward, or you hit some kind of pushback and you just stop right there and you don't go any further with it. That's one of the results of the imposter kicking in. Another is that we compare ourselves to others. So before we even get out of the gate or while we are in process, we will go into this comparison. It shuts down the unique contributions that we have to make because we step out of trusting ourselves. This is the key issue. And that leads into this next part, which is we don't trust our own method. So one of the things that I've discovered in my work with people over the last 2 decades professionally is that every one of us has our own unique method, our own distinctive style to be discovered and honed and then used in the contributions that we make or deliver. Also, the method that we have in working with others, helping others, facilitating all of that. We don't trust our value or our content contribution. This is another one where the imposter syndrome hits us. So this means what? We change direction too often, or we reinvent our wheel over and over again, trying to get it just perfect, to feel good enough inside in what we're offering, when instead it actually probably is good enough, and we are too backed up with the imposter inside of us to be able to recognize that and trust our contribution in that way. Also, we don't trust ourselves to go confidently to the next level as professionals. This is a big one. I see this all the time, that we find the pool that we can swim in comfortably and maybe even challenge ourselves a little bit. But it's a big deal to challenge ourselves into that major next level. And how do we meet ourselves in that space? How do we actually follow through and go the distance to move ourselves to the next level? And then we want to have all the knowledge or all the answers or solutions before we step out and trust ourselves. I see this frequently, this ability to only trust ourselves as far as we feel we know what we're doing, or we feel that that other people will recognize that we know what we're doing. That's a huge one. Instead of trusting something else inside of us that knows beyond the head, knows beyond the knowledge base. This is a um, key quality of highly successful people, is that ability to take in the knowledge and integrate it and be able to utilize it, but then to trust themselves into the unknown spaces, to take those risks and show up fully there, so that the learning curve happens, we actually show up and grow, but also find out that we are more capable, more competent, and even more knowledgeable than we thought we were. This is an area where the imposter will shut that down. And then finally, the other thing professionally that I encounter a lot is that we don't trust the process in others. So you've heard the term micromanaging, or even maybe have lived it either as the micromanager or the one being micromanaged. that's because there isn't this level of trust within the self, whether we're micromanaging somebody else or they're doing it to us and they're not trusting themselves at a deeper level. So those that we are leading or mentoring, those we train, those we consult to, if we're not trusting the process in others, then they're not able to get, to go the distance and get the full value of what we have to offer. So we could be getting in the way of that. And the reason, because our imposter syndrome is at work, shutting down our trust of ourselves, therefore our ability to trust the process in those that we are working with. We have to validate ourselves, our work, and our value, our contributions constantly. And that's where the imposter is shutting us down in that situation. So, what is the solution? What are we going to be talking about and working on this weekend at the Wake Up Call event when you are there participating with me? The first is that we have to take action to stop running, hiding, or trying to outperform our imposter. We have to confront it directly. And oftentimes, this can be pretty difficult because we think we know, but when we actually get into the spaces of our true risk inside, where we feel it in our gut, it's a whole different situation or story than what we've been telling ourselves. So that's one of the things we do is we get down and real with where we are running, where we're hiding, or where we are outperforming, trying to escape our imposter. And then the second thing that we do walking into the work this weekend with the imposter is to go into the deeper self-awareness within ourselves. This is the antidote. Why is self-awareness the antidote? And everybody's going to say, Carmel, you always say that. Well, I do, because inside every solution, there must be that self-aware piece. And oftentimes, we'll look for solutions and leave out the self-awareness piece, or we'll think that we get it here and call that self-awareness, and it's not. What I'm looking for is the integration of the awareness of self in the spaces of our risk, in the spaces of our unknowns, in the spaces where we have felt like a fraud. And I know exactly how to look for that as we're facilitating this process together. But what it means is that your solution for dealing with your imposter on an ongoing basis comes from the inside, not from the outside. It's not more knowledge. It's not feeling the validation from external sources, your peers, your boss, others, that says, oh, you're on the right track. You have to know that first for yourself and be able to own it. You have to know that in the spaces where other people question you. Do you really know it, or do you not know it? Are you able to hold your own or have your voice in those situations that might try to shut you down or even do shut you down? And can you stay your course, stay in alignment with yourself in that place of self-awareness to meet where the imposter might try to take hold? This allows us to understand, when we're more self-aware, to understand what we are risking, and then we can choose consciously to take those risks. That's why the self-awareness piece is so crucial. We have to go into that process of our own awareness of self and into the space of what I call radical self-acceptance. And as we start to develop the awareness of self and the radical acceptance of ourselves, it automatically makes it possible for us to identify what risks we are facing and then to consciously choose into those risks for ourselves in our own ways. That way, we meet the imposter with action taking. We meet the imposter from a place inside of us that demands our alignment, our trust of ourselves, and our alignment with that trust. So that's why the self-awareness work is so important. And then finally, the third part that we need in meeting the imposter is what I call the right resources. So that can be the right coaches and therapists, courses that are going to guide us in this deeper awareness of self that we need and bring us full circle in our own ability to trust and radically accept ourselves in the places that we haven't been. And when we're able to put those pieces together, it's bang, it's all go, all systems are go, and we're able to move forward. So this is what I am doing this weekend in the Wake Up Call experience that I'm leading. And I will just add, just briefly here at the end of this little excerpt, that when I do this work with people, I've walked through the process with you. But just because you understand what I've said that doesn't mean that you've done the work. The work that we have to do is showing up to ourselves in the space together in the space where I'm facilitating that, because the knowledge is not the transformation. Knowledge is never transformation. Knowledge can bring us to a moment of transformation, but it's in our showing up to the work vulnerably and actually taking ourselves through it that we're able to formulate this or spark this transformation within ourselves. And that creates the lasting change, lasting behavioral change, lasting awareness that allows us to meet the imposter, meet the fraud inside when it pops up for us, recognize what it is, not hide, not run, not try to outperform it, but instead to walk ourselves into that space of risk, see what it is, and consciously choose into the risks that are right for us for the reasons that we want, and see it through to the other side, see it through to our success. That's the wake up call. That's what we're doing this weekend. I invite you to join me. It's always powerful. It's always new and different. If you've joined me before and this is calling to you, then trust me, you'll enjoy this just as much as you did the last one with me. That's what this is all about, is continuing to meet where we are right now and step up to it and invite into ourselves the transformation to move to that place where we are more free, more completely and authentically ourselves, and to meet our success. All right. I will look forward to seeing you there, and have a great week.